gonna wash the palate. We're gonna cleanse the palate with some Richard B. Wolff, okay? I actually don't know if his middle name starts with a B or not. I'm just saying that. Well, that's the beauty of Freeze Peach, Draco Wrath. It can mean anything you want it to mean.
Suppose you change the organization of production. No longer a small group in charge. No masters, no lords, no employers. You say that in every production unit, every enterprise, whether it's a factory or an office or a store, it doesn't matter. In any collection, in any community of human beings producing a good or service, it has to be organized democratically.
That was literally my thought process, minus the emotes.
Just think, what an idea. One person, one vote. Whether you're a supervisor or a machine operator or a service provider or a sweeper-upper at the end of the day, one person, one vote. You together, by majority vote, decide what this enterprise is going to produce, what technology it's going to use, where this is all going to happen. And here comes the big one. What's to be done with the output, with the profit, with the revenue, whatever you call it? I don't think in a minute, if this were done democratically, you would ever see 5 people being given spectacular pay packages, while everybody else can't put their kid through college without accumulating debts they can never repay. Some people have 15 yachts and other people are food insecure, the modern euphemism for hunger. No, if it were democratically done, you'd have a fantastically different commitment to less inequality. You wouldn't see the inequality we have because you wouldn't anymore have a minority in a position
This guy is very based.
Because they wouldn't be.
He's one of the few Harvard-trained economists who's like, yeah, yo, socialism's a real good idea.
Power position that they have been in slavery, in feudalism, and capitalism.
And he's a great way of making this
accessible. The democratization
accessible.
of the enterprise, the democratization of the workplace, that's a structural break from the past. And only with that kind of a break do we have a chance to undo the inequality reproduced systematically by slavery, by feudalism, and in our era, by capitalism. Here's the bottom line, and I tell it with a story. If you want to have social conflict, tension, and difficulty, then you give some people a great deal and everybody else way less. It's a recipe for tension, conflict, difficulty, and disorder. You want a society in which each of us can develop our talents, follow our passions, contribute to society, and be taken care of. Then don't allow that kind of inequality. And the way you do that is not merely moral preaching, however useful that may be. You've got to take the structural steps.
True.
And economically, we know how to do that. Democratize the enterprise. Make it a general discussion and a general democratic decision.
Hey,
Sure,
Erk.
some people will get paid more
How are
than
you,
others,
lovely?
but we will never have the kinds of centuries-long gross inequality that I described to you at the beginning of today's program. Overcoming inequality is a systemic problem. Capitalism is the obstacle that we need to overcome to get to the kinds of levels of equality rather than inequality that most Americans have shown us over and over, like most people around the world, is what they would prefer.
Based Richard Wolff, telling it how it should be. This is the kind of stuff that I advocate for, guys. Like, oh, Richard D. Wolff, my bad. Like, it's not unobtainable. All we gotta do All we gotta do is create systems that encourage the creation of democratic workplaces. And while that sounds like a lot, all it really takes is for us to be more politically active, whether that is, volunteering for campaigns, running for office ourselves, talking with our coworkers about political beliefs and political ideas. And all it really takes is for us to be engaged in that way and to actually use our electoral power, but also not just merely when elections roll around. The other 4 years, 2 years between cycles, talk with people, build up those connections, meet with your neighbors, hold these cookouts. The thing that a lot of people don't realize about politics is that politics is merely the relationships between people institutionalized. And that being the case, we can change our politics by engaging with people around us. And really, we just need to engage with people around us to get at these underlying ideas of democracy, of fairness, of equal voice, of opportunity. These are all things that everybody in America generally wants. If we can phrase it in the right ways, with the right people, and if enough of us get engaged, we can make this happen. And we can set it up in such a way that it cannot be undone once we do it. And I think that would be the best for all of us. So let's remember not to take our doomer pills today, okay? Take your other prescribed medication, not your doomer pills. Leave those for another day, because we can do this. And we're gonna move on real quick to another quick PragerU video. Not one of these long Dennis Prager videos. This is one of their shorter animated ones about homelessness. Now, I have my ideas about what to do regarding homelessness. To me, it's not all that complicated. We have a lot of proven practices that pretty much all but eliminate homelessness. Like the number of people who are homeless is really just people who want to be homeless. So I have that idea. I'm gonna see what PragerU has to say about homelessness. And then we'll compare the two ideas. How does that sound, chat? Rats are jumping off Bolsonaro's boat. That's awesome. Let him sink.
What do we do about the homeless? This is one of the most vexing public policy problems we face. If you live in a big city, especially on the west...
Who is this guy? I didn't actually check. Christopher Rufo. Okay. Of the Manhattan Institute.
Coast, you literally face it every day. And every day it seems to get worse. Why? Let's start with a couple facts. First, the word itself is misleading. Homelessness is not primarily a housing problem, it's a human problem. The primary drivers of homelessness are drug addiction and mental illness. According to data from UCLA's California Policy Lab, approximately 3/4 of people living in cars, tents, and on the streets suffer from serious mental illness, drug addiction, or both. Second, despite these conditions, the homeless actually make rational decisions about where they want to live. Not surprisingly, they move to the most permissive environment they can find. Make your city attractive for the homeless, and they'll beat a path to your doorway.
Wait. Oh, wait, what? Okay, he just got, okay, breaking this down, he just got done saying, 3/4 of homeless people are homeless. 3/4 of homeless people have mental illnesses, but they'll make rational decisions to go to places that are more permissive. Permissive to what? Mental illness? Like, I need a little bit more clarity. Gaffadil, hello!
The Venice Boulevard underpass on the border of Los Angeles and Culver City brings home this point. It's one of thousands of concrete structures in Los Angeles County, but there's a curious detail. The Los Angeles side is full of tents, and the Culver City side is empty. Why? Because the two cities have different public policies. Los Angeles has effectively decriminalized public camping and drug consumption, while Culver City enforces the law.
Wait, so all this means is that you don't actually solve the problem, you just shuffle around who takes care of it. And if you're just criminalizing being poor, well, most people would say that's an unjust law. Or either you like fight against the fact that it's an unjust law, or you're just throwing people in jail for being poor, which, by the way, is something that used to happen. It was called the poorhouse. If you couldn't pay your debts and you were homeless, you would go to the poorhouse and you'd be forced to essentially become an indentured servant or like serve prison time equal to how much money you owed. Like, are they just advocating that we criminalize poverty and the mentally ill? It seems like what they're saying here, but maybe, we're only a minute and a half in. Maybe they'll clarify.
This pattern that the homeless go where the policy environment is the most permissive can be seen up and down the West Coast. In San Francisco County, it's estimated that 30% of the homeless migrated there after becoming homeless somewhere else. In the city of Seattle, that number is 51%. The San Francisco Chronicle estimates that hundreds of homeless individuals move to the Bay Area each year because of the perception that it is a sanctuary for people who are unwilling to participate in programs designed to get them off and keep them off a life in the streets.
Well, if most of these people are mentally ill or addicted to drugs, yeah, it's gonna be hard to get them into programs to do those things. Yeah, I'm sorry, if you're struggling with addiction or have a mental health disorder and you don't have access to like a therapist or like a psychologist that can help you and get you medication, yeah, you're pretty fucked. Like, what? These programs aren't there to like get you the medication or the therapy you need. That's not what those programs are there for. They're designed to get you to work. And if you're mentally ill and addicted to drugs, it's going to be a problem. You need housing first. And then you need, mental health care for all. We need Medicare for all. Then these people can actually get the help they need, and they get housing with those two things. Also, look, I don't want to nitpick here too much, but it really rubs me the wrong way when they're like, literally hundreds of people coming to the Bay Area. The Bay Area population. The Bay Area population is 7.753 million as of 2018. Oh no, you have a couple hundred homeless people coming there every year? Oh no, how is a population of 7.73 million going to deal with a couple hundred people who just need mental health care? 7.7 million people is like the population of a small country. You should be able to deal with like a couple hundred people who just need additional mental health care or additional housing. that's not a world-ending problem, and painting it as if it is frankly disgusting. But guys, like, the only reason Finland can end homelessness is because they have such a small population. Well, guess what? Like, the population of Finland is, I think it's, yeah. Population of Finland is 5.5 million. Finland's on track to end homelessness in the next 2 or 3 years. If we just have a housing first solution in the Bay Area alone, yeah, we can also do the same. It's not that hard. There are solutions out there that are being done by countries that are roughly the size of different parts of the US. I don't get this fucking system where we have the means to house everyone but don't. I'm so triggered right now. Yeah. And, like, it's not like it would be difficult. Like something, like, ridiculous. Here, I'm actually gonna look this up on screen, okay? How many apartments are empty in the US? Approximately 3 million rental housing units were vacant in 2020. How many homeless in the US? An estimated 553,000 people in the US experience homelessness on a given night. Literally, we could just pay landlords to house, like, homeless people. We could literally just buy rental properties off of landlords to house the homeless. Yeah. And we're not even talking about, like, empty homes. We aren't even talking about empty homes. We're talking about empty apartment buildings. Empty apartments. All landlords are... Wait, what does the P stand for? Parasites? Gotcha. We could just put them all in the empty homes. Yeah. I mean, like, if it comes down to, like, well, the landlords don't want to miss out on that revenue, well then, like, just have the US government buy them off the landlords. We have enough money to do it. Think about it, Jack. If we had free or affordable housing, Medicare for all, and living wages, give me a reason for people to join the military if we had those. Well, yeah, I mean, that's another reason. Though, Parkside Twan, on the reverse side, if everyone had to, like, sign up for the draft, and, like, military service would be, like, more evenly distributed across the United States if we got into a war, I think more people would be a little bit concerned about the fact that the president just seems to have war powers forever now. Draco Wrath, it's even more frustrating than that. It's even more frustrating than it appears on the outside, because it's literally cheaper to house the homeless than it is to just allow homeless people to suffer on the streets. It's literally cheaper to give people homes. It's cheaper and way more humane and causes crime to go down. But we don't do it. And we're not doing it because the solution seems counterintuitive. Because people are like, well, then people will just, like, be homeless and get their free homes. And it's like, what are you, yeah? And the problem being, what? People don't have to live on the street? The horror Yeah, exactly. I paid for my home. Why did they get it for free? This is America. They gotta starve to death on the street. I worked my way up. I made myself a hot dog cart. And I worked my way up. Bought myself my 5th home. Yeah, like, literally, like, countries that are tiny, and have, like, fractions of the money that the US does, have the ability to house homeless people. And we're just like, oh no, private charity will get it. No. We know that private charity won't do it because we still have 553,000 homeless people on any given night in the United States. Anyway, let's listen to more of this dumb argument.
At first glance, this would seem to make no sense. Why would an individual with no shelter or stable source of income move to one of the most expensive cities in the country? But in the world of the homeless, it makes perfect sense. That's because they operate under a different set of incentives than the average citizen. In a research survey of homeless migrants in Seattle, 15% said they came to access homeless services, 10% came for legal marijuana, and 16% were transients who were traveling or visiting when they decided to set up camp. But this dramatically understates the biggest draw of all, the de facto legalization of street camping, drug consumption, and property crime. As former Seattle Public Safety Advisor Scott Lindsay has shown.
By the way, if you give people homes, and if you like make services available for drug and decriminalize drugs, makes it a lot easier for people to kick their addictions, because a lot of people turn to their addictions for comfort because they're fucking homeless.
The city is now home to a large population of homeless, prolific offenders, people who commit property crimes to feed their addictions, but are rarely held accountable for those crimes by the criminal justice system.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like over half of the people in prison are in there for non-violent drug crimes. Like half of the prison population of the United States is in for non-violent drug crimes. The police, if anything, are more incentivized to arrest these people on behalf of the private prison industry.
So, is ever-increasing homelessness our inevitable future? If our goal is to make life as attractive...
Wait. Ever-increasing homelessness our inevitable future. Well... yeah. Under capitalism. Capitalism consolidates wealth to the tippy top. Capitalism is, in effect, a giant pyramid scheme. Literally, the longer capitalism goes on, the more homelessness will occur unless we take action to directly counteract that via policies like Housing First, Medicare for All, etc., etc., etc. Well, yeah, exactly, Athena. They want full prisons because full prisons make more money. Oh, Junipal, the point this video is making is that our cities in America are too attractive to homeless people, and so people just become homeless because cities are just so lenient on the homeless.
Sure. If our goal is to make life as attractive as possible for the homeless, the answer is yes. If our goal is to actually help the homeless, the answer is no.
That's right. If you want to help the homeless, you gotta let them die in the gutter, baby.
Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner is a Democrat, but his approach to homelessness is a world apart from his counterparts in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. It is simply not acceptable for people to live on the streets It is not good for them, and it is not good for the city, Turner has said. Houston's
That's true. That's why we gotta house them.
policy is a perfect example of what Turner calls a tough love approach. The city has built housing for the chronically homeless, formed a coalition of nonprofit partners, and lobbied the state government for more mental health and addiction services. At the same time, Turner has enforced a strict ban on public camping and promoted a citywide campaign to discourage citizens from giving money to panhandlers.
What the actual fuck? Like, look, you need to build housing, or you need to like buy existing housing to give to the homeless. That will do way more good than like ripping down tents, okay? When you rip down like the tents that the homeless live in, you're literally ripping down their home along with their ability to like have like belongings that are stable and safe. So when this happens, when it is banned and outlawed and the police roll in to like tear down these tents, making it that much harder for the homeless to get back up on their feet. And also, like, yeah, if a homeless person needs like $20 to like go buy a hot dog and like have a smoke and like ride the bus, like fuck you for telling me not to give them $20. This is America.
The results are as instructive as they are stunning. Over the past 8 years, Houston has reduced its homeless population by 54%, while it has skyrocketed in West Coast cities. Different policies, different results. Where a Seattle politician opposes hosing down feces-covered sidewalks because hoses are racist, Houston fights in the courts for the right to clean up encampments. Where California progressives push
Wait, hose... What? Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a big difference between, like, cleaning the sidewalk of feces and using hoses against people. Yeah. I just looked this up, by the way. I didn't find any big hits on that one. But, like, my guess is they're probably using the hoses on human beings and not just the sidewalks.
for more drug injection sites and have decriminalized thefts under $950.
No, actually, this is entirely made up and fear-mongering. The fact is, a lot of people are like, oh, they've decriminalized thefts under $950. Well, no. They just changed what counts as a felony. So it's still a misdemeanor crime to shoplift. It's just not, like, they're just not going to use all of their resources of, like, the police department to, like, come after you for, like, taking soap. Yeah, like, California shoplifting laws. Alright. Penal Code 459.5 PC is the statute that makes shoplifting a misdemeanor offense in California. This section defines shoplifting as entering an open business with the intent to steal merchandise worth $950 or less. The crime is punishable by probation, fines, restitution, and up to 6 months in jail. Damn, doesn't really sound like that's like you can just like go in and take a bunch of stuff without any consequences. Definitely just sounds like they changed it from an automatic felony to like a misdemeanor. Yeah, exactly, Autumn Leaves. If you see somebody shoplifting, like, soap, diapers, food, like, just don't be a snitch, okay?
Houston imposes consequences not only for theft, but
Yeah,
for
it makes
aggressive
me angry.
panhandling, window washing, and other street obstructions. As this Texas city has demonstrated, local leaders in cities of any size can meaningfully reduce homelessness through a strategy that mixes compassion with common sense enforcement. If cities stop allowing public encampments and open drug consumption and start prosecuting property crimes, they will have much more success redirecting the homeless away from a life of self-destruction and toward a life of hope through mental health treatment.
Let's see. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Houston is praised for its homelessness strategy. It includes camping ban. The city of Houston receives national praise for cutting its homeless population in half over the past decade, providing housing for more than 19,000 people along the way. Part of its approach includes a public camping ban. A carrot and a stick approach is the best approach, said Mark Eichenbaum, a special assistant to Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner on homelessness initiatives. This is important, though. Houston's ban is only enforced when alternative housing options are available. Eichenbaum said 85 to 90% of encampment residents accept an offer of housing, while only 2% will jump at available shelter space. A ban in and of itself is not going to solve homelessness, Eichenbaum told KXAN. If you're going to do enforcement without any offer of alternative housing, you're just moving folks around. Which is exactly true. Let's see. The reinstatement of a public camping ban in Austin has been met with apprehension and fear from those experiencing homelessness and advocates. While Austin voters resoundingly approved a ballot proposition to reinstate the ban on May 1st, city leadership didn't announce their education-first approach until noon on Tuesday, the effective date of the ordinance. In addition to Houston, Austin joins Amarillo, Corpus Christi, and San Antonio in having citywide camping bans in place. San Antonio, however, only enforces its ordinance when there's a threat to public safety. Let's see. So, in 2019, 34% of 187 cities surveyed had camping bans in place. A 60% increase from 2011. It certainly hasn't ended homelessness in any of these communities, said Eric Tars. We see a broken housing system, and homelessness system is being blamed for the failures of that broken housing system. I feel like this is a more even-handed approach, because one of the things that this video really skips over when praising Houston for how it handles the homelessness issue is pointing out that they're only allowed to evict the camps when they have places to house these people. Like, that does make it a lot better, as opposed to just like bringing in bulldozers and bulldozing camp encampments, which, by the way, they do in a lot of places in the U.S.
Drug rehab and job training. That's what we all want, isn't it? So why don't we do it? I'm Christopher Rufo.
Here's a better question, though. Why don't we get job training, drug rehab, mental health treatment for everybody in the United States? Why means test it? Why not just make these services available to everybody in the United States? You know? And thereby making it a lot cheaper because everybody contributes to services that they benefit from.